Hsing-ay, and I'm sitting here with Jamie Sock Whitney at his beautiful Brooklyn home and with this beautiful square grant made by Hazelton?
That's right. It was made by Hazelton in the early 1850s. Hazelton only, and the reason I know that is Hazelton only went into business in 1850.
Wow.
And this is serial number 124. So it was one of the very incredibly first pianos that they actually made.
And they were a New York company,
That's right.
So right here, local.
Yep, Henry Hazelton was born in 1816, lived here from Albany, and they stayed in business until the sort of late 19th century, and then gradually petered out. There were, in the 19th century, when pianos were so popular, there were so many piano makers, and there were some who went for very high quality. There were some who just went for mass market. And I'm lucky. Hazelton went for high quality. You bet. So this piano I've had for 30 years, and when I got it, it was in a house up in Westchester County, and the people were moving to Florida and looking to sell it. I tracked down a person who specialized in restoring old pianos, and he came and did a wonderful job of getting all the action working perfectly. He restrung the piano, and the first when he looked at it, he said, oh, well, you know, this piano's had new hammers and new keys and all of that. And then he realized, no, it just had never been played throughout its life. And it is rosewood, the inside is bird's eye maple, the keys are ivory. This piano was built in the early 1850s in New York. And you think about how did the rosewood get here from Brazil in the 1850s? How did the silver on the nameplate get here? You think about the fact that the cotton on the felt would have been picked by enslaved people on this piano. I mean, it's quite a historical artifact. The piano was actually in the family of the Cornell family from Cornell University, and the people in Westchester who had it had purchased it from their estate. So it's actually only had 3 owners in its life, and we're very happy to have it. This is from the early 1850s. Square grants started being built around the 1790s, and initially they were physically smaller than this, and initially all of the frame was wood. And when you have a totally wood frame, you can't put that much tension on the strings because it'll just crack and break. So what happened is technology advanced this piano, as we'll see when we look inside it. Half of the frame is iron, but the pegs are still in wood, so you still can't put a lot of tension on the strings, which gives it this wonderful, sort of bell-like sound. But within a few years of this, first Chickering and then Steinway came out with a full iron frame, and then instead of just having all the strings parallel, they even did overstrung strings so they get longer strings. So this is a real transitional piano.
And I think it was only in 1830 that they started using felt. It was pretty early.
It is early.
Yeah.
This one, the action is very, very simple, very primitive. The hammers are felt covered with leather. That's all original hammers. Every hammer on this is original. The bass strings are a single string, and the treble strings are a double string. So the way these work, I mean, as I mentioned, it's really simple. Here is the half iron frame with this beautiful, beautiful Gothic detailing with the gilt here. You can see the bird's eye maple all the way around here, and that's all the original finish. And then all the strings are all parallel versus later where they start overstringing. And then these are the dampers. These little delicate things are all the dampers. And they're encased. They have these little round lead pieces just to give them extra weight, and they've got cotton that lands and holds down the string. And overall, it's very, very simply laid out. One of the most incredible things about the piano that took me a while to have faith in, but you see this little piece here, it actually means that when you want more volume, you can rest the piano stand, the piano lid on the music stand, which is incredible because this weighs a ton.
Yeah.
And yet that's designed to be able to do that.
Oh, that's great. And fortunately for us, one of the hammerheads came off, so now
That's
we
right.
can see it.
So this is a hammer from one of the top notes, and you can see that it literally is encased in leather, and you can see how incredibly delicate that hammer is.
It looks so small.
And they are so close together that in terms of getting them, they just pass each other by the tiniest amount of distance. But so that if you hear that, those would be hammers of about this size hitting the string.
Mm-hmm. That's neat. And even the bench is matching Brazilian rosewood.
It is.
Which you found completely separately. How'd you find this?
We've been looking for years for a matching bench for this piano, and we were in the Catskills in an antique store, and there this was, and it was decrepit, but we had it reupholstered in horsehair to match the original horsehair, and had it refinished, and so it's great. It feels like it matches the piano completely now.
That's cool.
But originally the piano would have been a lot darker. The sun over the years has faded it, but I sort of like that because with the finish being a lot lighter, you can see so much more of this incredible grain that you wouldn't be able to see.
Yeah.
And the label here is H&F Hazelton, New York. And the other thing that you're going to notice as a pianist, that's a little disconcerting is everything is sort of off-center. And that's just how it is with square grands. Your pedal is about up here. Your label, instead of being over middle C, is here. It's an 85 key keyboard, so it stops down at C instead of going down to A.
There's the C. Okay, so my first impression is that this is a really sensitive instrument and less is much more. And so the first couple times that I tried playing in it, I was still trying to figure out how to find a touch that didn't overpower and force the instrument to do what I was trying to do. And then I found out that, especially the left hand, when there are staccato markings in Schumann's music, Clara Schumann's music, that it really is so much lighter than on my Steinway 7-foot B at home. And so completely different touch and different sound world. It also becomes more responsive than like when I try to do a melodic contour. It is much smaller in scale, but it actually is much more effective when it's done proportionally. So that was really interesting. I found that the idea of forte is completely different on this instrument because there's a lot of tension that I can build up, but it requires a lot less volume and sound. This piece, I love this piece because it feels just very spacious. The timing is very free. There's a lot of invitation to tighten certain points and loosen other points based on the harmonic direction. There is a lot of harmonic direction in this piece, definitely a lot of causation. Where are we going and how is it going to finally take us to the final arrival, the final resolutions? And yeah, I really enjoyed playing it on this instrument that was from Clara's actual time frame of when she was having her 60-some year long career. She would be playing on instruments that had a totally different feel, and it was really fun to feel the swing between places where it was effortless to places where we're building and digging into the sound. I think the spectrum of the swing is bigger on this instrument. So yeah, that was really fun to explore. I'd love to know like what makes it so enjoyable to practice on this, because you play it yourself.
I do, and I mean, part of it, to be perfectly honest, I find this so much easier to play than a modern piano because the action is so light that for an amateur pianist like me, I can get away with a lot more than I can on this than a modern piano. There's also just every time I sit down, there's this incredible joy of connecting with history, of playing an instrument that's 170 years old, that sat dormant for who knows how long and then was brought back to life. So for me, I really enjoy it. They fit well with smaller living space. This one is quiet enough I can play it at 2 in the morning and the neighbors don't hear. And they're just beautiful, beautiful works of musical art. And so I'm happy to have one and to have rescued this, and I hope that there are more people out there who will keep their eye out for square grand pianos because they're pretty wonderful. Even something like this, it's just so unmuddy.